But look, it's no secret that Vince loved WWE guys, like homegrown WWE talent.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're coming in from somewhere else, and you really kind of broke the mold, you were really the first TNA guy to come in, first big TNA name to come to WWE.
Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe you had to like prove yourself in WWE?
No. They were respectful of me. You know, I think Vince understood, you know, who I was and what I brought to the show. If anything, though, and I understand this, you know, like you want your own creations to do the best. You know, you want your own things that you've invested time and money and effort into to kind of go to the forefront. I've never faulted anybody for that. But at the same time, you know, I've always resigned myself. I'm never going to be less so somebody else could be more. You know, I'm going to be the most me I can be. And if you compete with me and you're up there with me, you're going to look great. You know, like if you stay up here at this watermark with me, you're going to look fantastic. But if you don't, I'm not going to slow my game up just to make the segment work, in other words.
You were the first person from TNA. Like it was before AJ. It was before Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
It was before Eric Young. What allowed you to be able to go to WWE at that time?
Because I don't care about the circumstances that get me anywhere. And this goes back to when I started. You know, when I went to ROH, they did not want me. You know, and I love Gabe. We're awesome. But I remember the first words out of Gabe Sapolsky's mouth when I showed up at ROH were, "Hey, listen, we can't afford another flight from California, so this is just going to be a one-time thing."
Wow.
And literally I said, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Samoa Joe," and that was the first thing out of his mouth. First thing, Gabe Sapolsky. That piece of shit. No, he's a great dude. I love you, Gabe. Because obviously, great relationship and went on there. I do the match with Low Key, and he comes in the back. He goes, "You're on every show."
You said, "Wait, flights from California gotten cheaper?"
Shit. Yeah, what the hell happened here? You got Groupon? What's going on? And then even in TNA, you know, when I got there, like I said, they had no TV and stuff like this. And I remember Scott D'Amore, that piece of shit. No, Scott D'Amore, great dude. Scott D'Amore comes up to me and goes, "Hey, man, it's good you're here. You know, we're doing internet shows. You're an internet guy, so we figured it'd be good to have you here." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, I'm an internet guy. Okay, all right, dude. Go out there, have the match. Oh, you're awesome, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be undefeated streak, make X Division champion." And then WWE, it was very much the same thing. You know, like we were closed off from WWE. If you were a TNA guy, TNA guys don't show up here. In WWE, we create our own superstars. We don't bring in people anymore. I'm not dealing with these prima donna wrestlers who worked other places. You know, that was very much the vibe in WWE. And honestly, if it was a perfect timing of things where it's like Hunter was given the remit with NXT, he wanted to build it into a third brand. He wanted to make it bigger than what they were, the remit that they had for it. You know, was just like, oh, it's just a developmental thing. It's OVW. It's what it's always been. And Hunter wanted to make it. No, I can make this into a third brand. But he also knew he needed some firepower. You know what I mean? It's hard to, when you got all these new talent that you're developing, some of those guys don't have that hook. And I think the first person I called was Paul Heyman. And, you know, just, hey, is this even worth pursuing? Whatever. And Paul was like, "Stop everything. I'll call you. Stop. Say no more. I'll call you back in whatever." And I was like, "All right, cool." And of course, I think he called Triple H and a few other people. And then William Regal jumped on board right away too and was telling Hunter, "No, you got to bring him in." And I went in and I had a meeting with Hunter, and a great meeting. You know, we worked out a non-exclusive, you know, kind of coming in, working with guys here and there type of deal. And then we did the debut. I think I sold out on WWE Shop and all these shirts and stuff. And the next morning he goes, "We're just going to sign you full time. You know, we made too much money last night." And I went, "Awesome."